All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Blind View right here on Rumble. Here is your host, Miss Rebecca Meadows.
Hi, everybody. How is y'all tonight? It's pretty hot here because my AC still isn't fixed. How are you guys?
Well, doing great. Actually, it's been hot, but luckily it's not as humid as it could be in July in Kansas. So we are pretty lucky in that regard.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It has been sweltering, but we've been sharing the love with some of you all, like you all in Kansas. You know, there's the headlines talking about massive heat dome. I'm just like shrugging, like, that's a Tuesday in Phoenix. So you guys think, yeah, you guys can learn the benefits of hydration.
Well, I am back from my vacation as of a couple of days ago, so I'm still recovering from that.
You sound tired, Paul.
I am tired. Been still yesterday actually was my birthday, and I was not feeling so great. I actually had pretty tough headache. I was about to kill my head, but we're feeling a little bit better today.
Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. I thought you meant recovering from the effects of inebriation, but
no. I don't know what happened, but yeah, yesterday I was about to kill in my head, but here I am.
A happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you.
Yes, happy birthday, Paul.
Yeah,
welcome to a new chapter.
My birthday's tomorrow, and your birthday was yesterday, so we were.
Happy early birthday, Anya!
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Wow. What are you turning? 21?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
are you turning 21, Paul?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, I think it's for big 21. 30, right?
What'd you say, Anya?
I thought Paul turned big 30, right? Are you on the third floor now, Paul? Or
am I on the third floor? Yeah, I guess you could call it that.
All right. Well, I'm even older than that, and I don't even mind saying it. So, yeah.
When is your birthday, Brandon?
It is in May the 16th. I started my 41st chapter of life.
Oh, right. And Becca, I can't remember. I remember we talked about it, but I don't know what it was.
My birthday is, I'm a Sagittarius, and my birthday is the last day of November, so it's November 30th.
Oh, right.
And I was born in 1976 when our country turned 200 years old. And since our country's turning 250 this year, that makes me 50 years old this year. So in November, I'll turn 50.
All right.
Well, you look young.
Thank you, Paul. As a matter of fact, I do look good for my age.
Great.
I have some theories about that. Do you guys want to hear them?
Well, sure. I actually would be, because people say that I do too. They say I don't look my age either, and some people say I don't act my age. But
I think a big part of that is because I think when we're blind, we don't see a lot of the cruelty in the world and a lot of the just horrible crap that shocks people's minds and makes them turn gray and wrinkly with stress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I beg to differ on that account, because you can say it, or you can turn it all the way around and say you don't get to see all this beauty around you. And then women, especially, like, who view Instagram and he'll look at different magazines and they copy different. Oh, this hairdo looks so cool. I'm gonna do this, or this, eyeshadow or something. And I think it can go both ways too.
Well, you are correct, Anya. I do not get to see all the beautiful women. That is absolutely correct.
But when you're blind, there are still plenty of ways to enjoy beauty in life. You know what I mean? Like music, like the sounds of nature. Living in Arizona, I haven't been outside much here since we moved to Mesa because it's been so hot. But when I was in Mesa, like just going outside and hearing the birds, it just brought such peace to my soul. You know what I mean? And
right.
And so nature, the sounds of nature also, I feel, are are very soothing and inspirational at times.
Just interesting that you bring this up because I was talking to someone about this a couple days ago, and I was saying that I have some friends in Missouri in a little small town called Higginsville, and I loved going out there in the morning and drinking my coffee in their on their deck because I would do that and it was so peaceful. There was hardly any traffic. Where I live now, is a town of 120,000, if you will, but over there it's a population of 5,000, and it's just like you can hear the sounds of nature, and it's just a very beautiful thing. And I said to my friends, I was like, "Wow, y'all are so lucky. You all get to hear nature every single morning." And they said, "Oh, what we hardly even pay attention to it." So, such a beautiful thing.
I'll take a hybrid approach. I mean, I absolutely do agree that I do enjoy sounds of nature and I mean nature itself, like wind and water, but then also the animals of nature, whatever those animals be. But I don't know if that does or doesn't contribute to longevity of blind people. I don't know.
As I was saying about when I lived in Mesa, I really enjoyed the sounds of nature. Since I moved here, one of our neighbors, the one I think he's across the street and maybe one house over, almost every morning he turns on his diesel pickup and lets it run out in the street for like 45 minutes to an hour before he goes and gets in it. And I got to tell you, when we first moved here and I first realized that was going on, I was like, appalled, because like growing up in the 80s and 90s, all we heard about was conservation, right? And not being wasteful.
Yeah.
And he is burning up his diesel fuel for like 45 minutes. And it's not like like in Montana, I remember people do that in the winter they have to warm up their vehicles to get them warm enough to drive. You know what I mean? Because it gets really cold in Montana in the winter. So that's normal there. But this is freaking Arizona. There's no reason he needs to start his pickup before he leaves in the morning. You know what I mean?
That was my initial thought. Because when I lived in Alaska, you'd have to start your car up quite a bit earlier before you left because you'd have to wait for it to warm up. But there's no real reason for him to do that, I don't think, in Arizona.
No. And so when it first started going on, I found it really shocking and distasteful. And like I said, wasteful. And it really upset me. And now it's just, I don't know. It's like air or sound pollution in the neighborhood. It really irritates me. Otherwise, it's really beautiful here in Payson too. You know what I mean?
You know what the population is of where you live?
I don't. I'm a really bad judge of population, especially when I haven't really seen a full area. But the town feels to me. I want to say about 30,000 people.
Oh, okay.
Let me ask my phone real quick and see what it says.
1709. Facebook. 2 minutes ago.
What is the population of Payson, Arizona?
As of 2020, the population of Payson was 16,351.
Oh, wow.
And so this is 6 years later, so maybe it is where I said by now.
Wow, you're living in a small town, and that's a that's a place that has to be pretty quiet.
Yeah, and so like I'm really enjoying, like it's really easy to hear nature out there. You know what I mean?
Versus you, Brandon, live in Phoenix, and I know it's probably not quiet at all.
No, I mean, there's always the sound. Like I live in a quiet-ish neighborhood, but I mean, like what's interesting when I moved to Phoenix is, and I still find it interesting to this day because it's just so different than when I grew up. Sound goes like things sound closer than they are. Like I can hear stuff going on 4 and 5 and 6 streets away. It's like, wow, man.
Holy smokes.
So have you guys ever heard about like walking barefoot so your feet can connect with the earth? You know what I mean? And do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, remember? I was talking about that last podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's one thing I'm excited about is doing here in Pesa, because here we can actually put our feet on the soil. We have a garden in our backyard and stuff like that. So we can actually feel the soil on our feet, where in Mesa everything was freaking concrete. you
Uh-huh.
know? It was terrible. I mean, I loved my house in Mesa because it was so beautiful. But uh, one thing that really drove me crazy was there's no way to touch the earth.
Yeah. No, and that's really all you've got to do. But like what you were just
Mhm.
saying, maybe because I was talking about like grounding mats and stuff.
Mhm.
And that's for people that live in environments like where you used to live, where you can't really go
Mhm.
outside and just walk on dirt, or
Mhm.
grass or whatever.
And and I think I told you guys about how we've been getting farm fresh eggs.
Yeah, I
Did you
don't think you.
guys
Eh.
you guys remember me telling you about how they're different colors and they have cool designs and stuff on them, but they also taste so much better than the stuff you buy in the grocery stores. I never had farm fresh eggs until we moved to Payson a few months ago, and they're just amazing.
My sister has
Huh.
some chickens, and she sells her eggs
Uh,
$5 a dozen. And she had one of her neighbors contact her. I don't know, a couple days ago, and said to her that we want 5 dozen eggs a week. So she's going to have to get to it.
Wow.
oh yeah, we found a farmer. He sells them for like I think $5 a dozen too, and so we have a cooler, and if we leave it out in front of the house when he comes, if Tim leaves a $20 bill in there, then he'll leave 4 cartons or vice versa. You know what I mean? However much money Tim leaves in there, he'll leave us cartons of eggs.
I don't think I've ever
Uh,
had a farm fresh egg before, to be honest.
oh, Paul, you should find out. Paul, do you live anywhere near farms or farming country?
Not really. Maybe in the country part of the town I'm in, maybe there might be,
Are
but
you in
no, not really.
California?
Yeah.
Oh, I think there might still be farms in California. You should find out if there's a farmer's market near you, and you could go to the farmer's market and look for fresh eggs, or ask around and see if anybody knows a farmer that sells fresh eggs.
It's actually not
Uh,
a bad idea. I know there is a farmer's market here,
yeah.
which I've been to once with
Mhm.
with a whole bunch of ladies that was in their 60s. That's a topic of another discussion. But yeah, I've been there once.
Yeah.
I honestly did not notice too much difference when I got farmer's eggs, like several times. I mean, they could be a little bit better, maybe, but paying twice as much. I don't know. I guess I just.
When
Well,
I
what
lived,
I think is amazing is it sounds like you guys all buy a lot more eggs than we do, and we're a family of four. We usually only buy like 2 dozen. You guys buy like
well,
4 and 5 dozen. Man, that's a lot of eggs.
Tim and I are eating a lot more eggs since we discovered these farm fresh eggs. Because I'm telling you, they like with each bite, for one thing, the consistency of the eggs are different as you're chewing them and stuff, and
Mhm.
and then as you're swallowing them and they're going down, like it makes me feel so much better than those store bought eggs ever
Do you
did.
eat them boiled, like hard boiled, soft boiled, or fried, or?
Tim usually fries them, like does like the 2-minute eggs. You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean?
The 2 minute
But
eggs.
I bet these eggs would be good prepared in any way. I've always liked eggs my whole life, but these eggs are, like I said, way better than the store bought shit I have had my whole life until now.
I like eggs. I think I told you guys on this podcast like a while back that I have an egg cooker, which is super easy thing. Like it's designed for 7 eggs. All you do is
Uh,
plug in a wall and you pour
uh,
just a little bit of water because it comes with a little measuring cup, tiny measuring cup, and then you plug it in and you walk away, and like 3 minutes later, it's all done.
Oh,
so
they are
my
hard boiled, correct?
There are 3 ways you can do them. You can do them poached egg, I think it's called, and then 2 other versions. I don't know. I just do
Okay.
hard boiled.
so guys, Tim and I are planning on getting chickens because the property we just bought in Payson has a chicken coop on it. And like my mom, I remember growing up, my mom grew up on a farm, and my mom always had terrible things to say about chickens. She hated chickens after growing up on a farm with chickens, right? And Tim and I are so excited to get chickens for our chicken coop. You know what I mean? Now, when I lived in
I mean, I view them
Missoula,
as
my
dirty birds, but
chiropractor and his wife, they got a chicken coop, and they had a batch of kids. They were a Mormon family, and they had a batch of kids, but they got a chicken coop, and it seemed like shortly after they got their chicken coop, I heard of like 3 other families that I knew that got chicken coops in Missoula, and I was beginning to think I should get a chicken coop. And now look here, I got a chicken coop, and I'm going to become a chicken farmer.
I do know a lot of people who have them. You know, my sister has one, and actually,
Mm.
funny story. I used to take lessons, piano lessons, by an individual who was blind, and I think they lived in Missouri, if memory serves correct, and or Kansas, one of the Midwestern states, and they had a whole bunch of chickens. Well, one of the chickens attacked him, and all I can say, or all they told me about it after that, was that chicken tasted real good for dinner that night.
Yeah, I couldn't believe, Paul, you say that your sister has chickens and you never had farmed egg. Like,
Well, my sister lives in a different state than I do, so I don't think I've had farmed eggs before. I've had what do you call it? Farmed sausage before from a hog, and I didn't notice too much of a difference. Maybe it tasted a little cleaner, if you will, if you really want to call hog it all clean, you know, pig it up, pork it all clean. But I'm not a big like sausage guy, so I'm probably not the best person to judge it.
The one thing I'll say, guys, is I'm a happy Butcher Box subscriber. Yep, I'm gonna name drop, and I'm gonna give them kudos and 2 thumbs up. So I think a lot of it depends on like
What do you get in Butcher Box?
how it's prepared. For example, I get grass fed and finished beef from them, and a lot of people don't like that. Like I know Carl's Jr. / Hardee's tried the all natural burger for a while, and unfortunately it didn't sell very well. But I think that's unfortunately just because so many people are used to grain finished, and it's a lot more common. But you know, that doesn't mean that's how it's supposed to be, though. I mean, so, and the same with pork. You know, like pastured pork. You know,
I remember
like
you
the-
mentioned that on a podcast, and I told you guys that I was a subscriber for a while, but then we kind of unsubscribed.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of new age freaks that do the free range chicken thing, and they don't want to buy chickens unless they're free range chickens. Well, now you'll
Yeah.
get them started on the free range cattle, Brandon.
I will get him started on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I believe that is how cows naturally eat, and the same
And-
with chickens. Yeah,
And you said the
because-
meat is better there?
Look,
Did
I'll
you-
say in contrast. Have you ever heard of a battery chicken? Trust me, they treat commercial chickens horrible.
Oh, yeah, I
Horrible.
know. That's another reason why
Yeah,
I
but-
like these farm fresh eggs. I think that's another reason why they taste better, because they were, I guess, honestly harvested. You know what I
But
mean?
if you
Or
look at free
naturally
range,
or traditionally harvested.
but if you look at free range chickens and you look at the space that's technically free range, it's still pretty small. And if they are able to go within that space, it's still technically free range.
Right. And I do believe, not to go down this rabbit hole, but I do believe here in the USA the sort of organic standard has been compromised. Yeah, right. And they do things like that, right? But I mean,
Technically,
chickens
I mean-
naturally eat grass and bugs.
Mhm.
You know,
So-
and I get it. You know, it's like the companies are saying, well, yeah, but you know that can't meet demand and whatever. I don't know. You're gonna pay now or you're gonna pay later, guys.
Yeah, no, I do agree
So-
with that.
So, Brandon, since you live right here in Arizona, if Tim and I ever get around to getting unpacked and then getting the chicken coop set up and going and getting the duck pond put in that we want to put in, you could come up here with your family if you want, so you could check out the place. You know,
Well, I mean, and depending on, you know, how much you guys produce, you know, if you have surplus, you know, we'd probably
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
take some off your hands. If you don't though, and
Oh,
you're just doing it more on like a subsistence level, I also understand that.
yeah, that reminds me, I'm supposed to take some farm fresh eggs to my girlfriend Nicole and her family there in Phoenix. Because Tim and I go to Phoenix about 2-3 times a week.
But since we're talking about all these chickens and eggs and food in general, Brendan, you said you wanted to talk a little bit about the steakhouse or something. What was your
Yeah. And I guess the perception is I'm, you know, late to the party. so I won't take a lot of time. But about a year ago, guys, I went to a Brazilian steakhouse, and I was pointing out backstage. I don't even know the differences between a Brazilian steakhouse versus a Japanese steakhouse, but I'll just simply say really quick, the cool thing about a Brazilian steakhouse, unlike an American steakhouse, is you do not go in, sit down, place your order, they cook it and bring it to your table. Oh, no, 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 no. It's much better than that, because what happens is you go in, you sit down, and importantly, you have a plaque or a card of some kind. One side of it is red, the other side of it is green. And what happens when you flip that card to the green side and you show the gauchos, which I'll explain what they are in a minute. So gauchos are people that walk around the restaurant, and they just bring whatever they bring to the tables. For example, they just say, "Oh, would you like some sweet and spicy chicken?" And you just say, "Yes or no," and they put it on your plate. And then another one will come back. "Oh, would you like any garlic steak?" Yes or no, and they put it on your plate. So and you could just eat like that until you get full. So pretty.
Yeah,
So,
they're great, but let's not be getting it twisted. They do
I've-
cost a lot more than an American one.
I've been to one of those restaurants one time on a cruise ship, right?
I did.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I went to one of those places on a cruise ship one time, and they came up to me with several kinds of meat on a skewer and wanted me to point at the one I wanted. And I got really frustrated because I couldn't see even what was on it, and I wound up leaving without eating because they wouldn't accommodate me,
When you asked like which one is it, they wouldn't tell you.
I don't remember, but I just couldn't. Just, you know what I mean?
I
they-
don't know. That doesn't line up. I'm sorry, because they do come and they say, "Okay, I'm walking around with some pork. Would you like some pork? Or this is sausage," and they communicate with their carrying.
Yeah, everyone
They've
done that. So
now I'll tell you guys, when I go, what I ask the gauchos is, can you just cut it directly onto my plate? Because I do want to point out, like you're saying, Becca, yeah, the meat is on big, long, like sword size.
Yeah, and there's no way for us to see it or feel it, and
right. And so I just asked them, can you just cut directly onto my plate? And most of them were happy to do that.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that would have worked. But then I think every time I've ever been to one, they've always said, "Okay, here is ribeye steak. Here is cut up chicken," and you go, "Oh yeah, I want that," or "No, I don't want that." I think like one of them they offered fish, and I wasn't going to have any of that. So I'm not really sure what happened in your case when you was on the cruise, but yeah, they do cost a lot more though than an American steakhouse. I do think. I think it's really, really good.
My wife last night, we got out of there for $100.
Yeah, but you get to eat more, Paul.
That is true.
All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, it's me, your favorite author, Rebecca S. Meadows, here with another message. You can go up to Amazon and search Rebecca Meadows author to get your hands on each of my books. And each book is available in Kindle, digital download, Amazon print on demand, or on Audible. So enjoy, and please send me an email at beccameadows76@gmail.com and let me know what you thought of my book, okay? Oh, and please go up and write a review for me too. Thank you. Peace out.
Okay, hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for staying with us during the commercial break.
You absolutely do get a lot more food, though, when you go to a Brazilian steakhouse.
And that's my point. So I just think they're nice places to go, especially on special occasions, huh?
Many of them do have big salad bars if you're not into eating meat. I know the one that's by my house has a huge salad bar with really any topping you could really want on your salad. So if you ain't a meat eater, don't feel like you'd be excluded, because I think most of them are that way.
That's true. I just didn't point that out because I am very carnivorous. But yes, that is true. There was a salad bar at this one as well.
Go ahead, Anya.
Brazilian steakhouse, folks.
One of the famous ones that everybody probably knows is Foco de Chao. I think that's if I pronounce
Oh
it.
no, no,
I've
no!
never heard of that.
I've never heard
No,
that.
I haven't either.
Oh, it's a very famous one. I bet you guys all have like,
Is it there in Kansas?
it's in Kansas, it's in Minnesota, it's in Colorado, like it's everywhere.
Oh.
My famous ones is like Fogo de Chao, Chau.
Bogo de Chao.
Yeah, it's in Portuguese, of course. I don't speak Portuguese.
Speaking of Minnesota, Tim and I are going to Minnesota next month for my family reunion.
Oh, sweet. Are you guys flying?
Yeah, we'll fly.
That's cool. But yeah, so just finish on this. I discovered that restaurant myself like a few years ago. In Minnesota, my friend had a birthday party, so we went there. Actually, not a party per se, but it was just 4 of us, and yeah, I was so impressed by how it all works. And for blind folk, it's a little hard because if 4 of you are blind and you need to go in and do your salad bar thing, it's kind of complicated. There's cold cuts, like different cheeses and fish and all that stuff, and then you get really filled up by the time you leave there. So you just eat.
Well, now, do you think, Anya, would you trust a service like Ira or Be My Eyes to help you navigate that, or not really? I mean, I'm just saying those are services that didn't exist in the 1990s. They do now, but I know that they have their use cases, and I don't know. Would you? I mean, if I want to qualify it, if you had the glasses, if you had smart glasses that were compatible.
Probably not, because they can't take your hand and put it on a handle of the spoon or something.
Yeah,
you would end up touching stuff, and it may gross somebody out.
Yeah, I'm with you, Anya. I'd get a staff member, which I'm assuming that's what you did.
Yeah, we did get somebody help us. Yeah. And you don't know how things are laid out. Like, you don't know how much you grabbed. I mean, there's a lot of different subtleties.
But you would know what you're grabbing, at least.
Not necessarily.
Go ahead.
Not necessarily. I mean, Ira person can say, okay, so reach over, okay, to your left a little bit, okay, and then by the time you're looking for whatever is on your left, you may touch accidentally another plate with food or something. You know, I don't want to be that person.
I don't use those apps myself. I know I should. It sounds like they're very useful.
I wouldn't use them in that circumstance.
They absolutely
either.
Can be.
I wouldn't use them in that circumstance though either, just for everything that Anya is saying. And then also, I think that if you're using, say, a staff member, it's going to be a lot more efficient and a lot quicker than trying to do it with Ira or Be My Eyes, and you don't know if you're going to spill something and make how much you're going to get versus the staff member can tell you that. And so I'm with you, Anya. I wouldn't even try to use Be My Eyes or Ira for anything like that.
Yeah, and one super important point is, the person on the other side of the screen or AI, left alone AI, would know exactly what it is. So have you guys been to like blind people's parties? Like some kind of gathering. So you come, there's a buffet, and then somebody says, okay, guys, so listen, okay, when you go, first is going to be potato salad. Second is going to be like pasta salad. Then it's going to be deviled eggs. So you kind of have an idea, the order of things, you know what there is. Mm-hmm. When you come to this place, and then Ira person looks like, oh, it looks like this, but I'm not sure. Like it's still a different when you're looking through the lens of the camera. That's another big thing.
So I agree that optimally getting a staff person, or let's transition this into like grocery shopping. Shout out to the single people out there, okay? Because I recognize not everybody has family or friends that can go with them or is willing to go with them to handle things like shopping. And a lot of people say, no, I wouldn't use.
So you don't use customer service? I always used customer service to go shopping.
No. What I'm saying is, I agree with you guys. I think that is optimal. But services do exist to allow you to do it. It may be slower, but I mean, I'm just saying. And I've also had the experience of stores that would not have staff help me.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you used Be My Eyes or Ira to get your groceries before, Brandon?
No, admittedly, I have not. But if I had to do grocery shopping on my own, one way or another, I would get it done because I'm a competent and confident blind person. So whether that is, using a staff member from the store to help me, which again, I do think that's optimal, but in a So again, I'm going to name drop here. The store that didn't help me was Aldi's, and they said, "Look, we don't have the staff. Okay, we can't do it. We're not set up for that. We don't have, you know." So just depending on where you're shopping and what you're, you know, I'd get it done one way or another. But no, I haven't ever had to rely on a service like that. But one way or
I
another, I'll get it done.
I have
Um,
seen people do that, although I do believe the people who I've kind of seen do that with Ira Be My Eyes, I do think that they've all had a tiny bit of vision. Um, so they was able to at least know, okay, aisle four is the soda aisle. I need to go there to get Coke. You know, aisle seven's the bread aisle. I need to go there to get bread. So I think it could be done as a blind person, but I think if say I went to Aldi's and they treated me that way, honestly, I think I would just walk out and go somewhere else because I'm not going to tolerate that. To be honest, I maybe that makes me sound stuck up, but if you don't want to help me at all, then you obviously don't want my business.
Well, and I don't shop at Aldi's frequently now because a lot of their stuff has bioengineered ingredients. No thanks.
You guys know that oldie does not have an S in the end, and everybody says oldies. I'm not
Okay.
saying on here, but including myself, like everybody says oldies.
so you guys, I want to.
It because it's in one store.
Can I share with you guys my experience shopping?
Yeah.
When I haven't, I mean, I've hardly shopped since I left Missoula, Montana. But when I lived in Missoula, Montana, I lived there for 15 years, and I used the local Safeway, and they got to know me over the years. So I would call ahead and say, "Hey, this is Becca. I'm coming down to go grocery shopping. I'll come to customer service when I get there." And so I would, and every single time, if this one guy Jules was working, they would assign him to assist me. And Jules was an older guy, but he had cerebral palsy or something like that, right? And he worked there, and I guess they thought his time would be better served by helping me shop, you know. But because they gave me the same person most of the time, Jules and I got to be pretty good friends, you know what I mean? And but that's what I used to do in Missoula. Like I was there for 15 years.
That's not a bad idea to call ahead.
Or 20 years.
That's not a bad idea.
Because then if you call ahead, they know you're coming. And if they have someone on the floor like a Jules or an extra employee, they can be like, "Oh, I'll have that person help Joe or Ben or whoever when they get there to go shopping," you know?
Oh, and I think it always makes sense to bring a list too. You don't want to just go in
yeah.
willy-nilly.
Yeah, I always had a list on my iPhone, and I'd walk into the Safeway store, and I knew where the customer service desk was, so I just walk up to the customer service desk, and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, just a minute, let me get Jules for you," you know, because they knew I was coming, and
yeah.
And it's important to make a grocery list according to the to the departments, because some people don't know how to shop. Blind people, they ask for eggs, then they want an orange, then they want bread, then they want apple. I mean, come on, you can't be running all the stores.
Yeah, that's something else I learned, to try to organize my grocery list.
What I was told when I went to a Center for the Blind is when you go to a store and say you've never been to the store, try to listen to the cash registers, and there should be someone in customer service by one of those cash registers who should be able to help you. Now, the interesting thing is that's always worked for me, but a lot more things these days are self checkout than they used to be. So it's not always a guarantee someone will be there to assist you. So far, it's worked, but it does feel like these days when I do get help that way versus saying using a service like Instacart, it does feel like it can take a little longer to get someone to help.
Well, and let me just ask this question. Like, okay, so let's just say, because a lot of people do, right, that you shop at Walmart. I don't know if you do or don't, but stay with me. You'll see my point, because some Safeways and stuff are like this too. They have multiple entrances and multiple cash registers in different departments. So do you ever get tripped up that way?
Usually I figured it out to where, so when I lived in Missouri, I would go to Walmart and I was always dropped off at the front entrance. When
Okay.
I go to my local store here in California, the entrance that I go into is pretty much the same there as well. I've never been dropped off or walked to the entrance that's different, so I haven't really ever experienced that before. But yeah, that could be an issue. It would
Oh
just
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
it could be an
Because
issue.
some people want to go like directly into automotive or directly
Or
into
the
like lawn and garden.
pharmacy.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they usually communicate on the radio and tell you. But I had one time my local oldie when I lived in Minnesota was closed for remodeling or something, and I didn't know about that, so I came and then like, oh shit, it's closed, so I had to go to a different oldie, and I come there and apparently they had not had blind people ever there before, so and
Ah,
prepared and like, okay, they're still looking for someone, like we don't have anyone. I'm like, I'm sorry guys, you have to figure it out because there is a law that you're
Mhm.
supposed to provide me. So yeah, so I waited for a little bit, maybe 15-20 minutes, and then they gave me some guy who's supposedly a manager, and he turned out to be a real jerk. Like
Oh, really?
he was treating me like I was a complete burden, like I was wasting his personal time.
I'm telling you, Aldi is
Oh.
just not the
Well,
place. It's
they
just
were probably
not the
hoping you
place.
wouldn't come back, you know what I mean, and become a regular problem for him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we were going through. I can't remember all the details because it's been like 8 years ago or something. But I was not going to leave it like that.
I'm doing my show, baby. Do you need me?
No, Aldi is just not the place. If you had a very similar experience to me.
But guess what? He brought me to the cash register. It's going to last drop. Normally they stay with you for a little bit, like they help you with groceries.
That could have waited till after my show, babe.
But then he just dropped me off. He brought me to the register. He didn't even say where we were. Like he didn't say, "Okay, we're headed to the register." Are you done? I was like, I think I am. I'll check my list. And he just kept going. And okay, he stopped. And then I'm sitting there with the card. I was like, what the hell? And I hear beep, 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 beep. I'm like, okay, we're at the register. And he walked away, not saying goodbye, nothing. He just dropped me off there. I'm like, okay, fucker. Like, I'm not going to live like that. So I filed a complaint with Oldie Corporate.
And did they get back to you?
Yes, they did. I actually asked at the register what was the name of the guy who was helping me. They gave me his name and his title, and I made sure to include it all. And I filed a report, and they said they're gonna take care of it. Like,
well, when
I don't know. I just know the
Brandon,
local fries in our
there?
area is running an ad right now, and man, I'll tell you, this wasn't a fry. This was at Safeway. My wife and I have done 2 pickup orders at Safeway. Right? You say what you want. You say, "Oh, I'll just come and pick it up." Both times they've been wrong. So you just gotta be careful. I think you just Instacart has worked better than pickup orders. It's like, how does that work?
Wait, do you have to pay extra? Like, let's say if they don't provide shopper's assistant, or it's really big pain in the ass to get them to do that. But if you did curbside pickup, do you have to pay extra for that?
No, it's a little cheaper because you don't have the delivery fee.
I've never used curbside checkup before.
I wouldn't do it. Man, we've done it twice in about the same number of months, and both times it's like.
Did they short you groceries?
Well, yeah, they partially shorted us, and then they substituted all kinds of items, and it's like, man, this is crap, dude. Like, how is Instacart able to do better than you guys? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, because they're the store owners,
Well, the problem is, and I don't know how it works with curbside pickup, but with Instacart, a lot of the people who do the shopping for you, they've admitted to us anyway, hey, we're under the clock, and if we don't get it done by this time, we start losing money.
Yeah, but one is different one from the other. How can they go by that? I mean,
but I don't know. What I mean is, I don't know if it's that way. I would think
that, like, if the store people are going and getting, like, they will know exactly, because the order goes to the store and you just say, I'll pick it up.
Okay, I don't want to be unkind by any means, but have you ever tried to ask people around the store where X and Y are in the stores? Half the time they don't know where that is.
Or they say it's over there.
And it ain't.
Well, they point.
They have the little
that doesn't do us any good.
They can put in a little device and tell you, okay, it's in aisle 15 or something.
I'm just saying, if you guys try Instacart and do pickup because you're going to be in the area or whatever anyway, I'm just saying, we have not had good success. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing.
But has it been with multiple stores or just one store?
It's been with Safeway both times.
But what if you did it with like, I don't know, another local
Ashes.
store in your
Yeah,
area?
well, Fry's has an ad right now, and I'm like, oh
So,
yeah, Fry, relax, huh? Let us do your shopping for you. Okay, let's just put you to the test.
ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, everybody, are you enjoying the show? Are you enjoying the books? Are you enjoying everything we're doing here at Blue Butterfly Enterprises? If so, go up to bluebutterflyenterprises.com and check out our store and buy some of our memorabilia. Wouldn't it be cool to have a Becca's World hat or t-shirt or coffee mug or bumper sticker for your car? I'm going to get one for my car when I get a car that I can drive.
What is Fry's? We don't have. I don't know what that is.
It's a
they're a
grocery store
grocery
here in
store.
Arizona.
Oh,
Oh, and I think they're in California too. I think they're owned by Kroger. I think
oh,
Safeway is Albertsons.
Yeah,
okay.
I just remember those days. And then again, let's something when they say, I'm going to just briefly touch on my topic because I really want to hear about Paul's vacation, if that was your topic. But I just want to say, like, when NFB used to say the blindness is just your characteristic, but now they went full on identity thing. So I just want to ask you guys very brief, like, do you guys think the blindness is just characteristic or identity? Like right now we are discussing all these issues that we have to deal with as blind people, shopping and buffet and all that stuff. So what is your take on that?
Well, hold on, because can I ask you this, Anya? Can you lay out for us and honestly just really educate me and everybody else as well? Why is there such a controversy? Is that what you're touching on? Because I listened to the banquet speech.
Yeah. Well, it's not
I mean,
exactly controversy. It's just a different language, like different jargon, different. With it comes like different perception. We used to be taught to think, oh, like it's just like blindness is like characteristic, like having blonde hair or having whatever skin or anything. But now it's become popular to say I identify as blind. I identify. So for me personally, it's not very triggering. But I did read one article by former NFBer who actually had some extracts from different speeches and articles from the NFB literature where they specifically, specifically emphasize that blindness is just characteristic, not an identity. And now with all these identity politics creeping everywhere, yeah.
Oh, I absolutely do not consider blindness a part of my identity. No.
Yeah, it's a characteristic about me too, not part of my identity.
But NFB does not look at that way anymore.
Well, but see, what are you basing that on, though?
Say that again.
What are you basing that on?
Well, on their speeches and their language they use. I mean,
what speeches though? The banquet speech, or there's other ones?
Speeches, different presenters talk, and they say it. After the show, I'm gonna send, if anybody else interested. But Brandon, I can send you this blog entry by my friend who actually has more issue with it than I do, and he talks about why.
So I've always considered my blindness a characteristic about me, but I've recently started using the terminology I identify as blind because it's kind of become a catchphrase in our society. You know what I mean? And so I've been kind of utilizing it like that. Does that make sense?
Maybe that's why they're doing that, because it's trendy.
Yeah, because it's trendy. Because I literally started doing it too because it's trendy, not because I really like. I consider my blindness a characteristic, definitely not the most important thing about me, and you know what I mean. But
No, but you can't be divided like that, though, Becca. If you say you identify as blind.
Well, I have said it. I haven't put it up on as a motto anywhere or anything like that. I've just used that terminology a couple times to see what it feels like. And it feels weird saying it. You know what I mean? Because I've never been a weirdo that identifies as anything. I've just been me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
and a people has a lot of identity politics these days too. Like,
yeah.
I did, LGBT and black leaders and this or that. Like, come on. If Jernigan or let alone Tenbrook heard all this, they probably twisting in their grave, turning their grave,
Mhm.
um, listening to all this. But I don't know. I still think that blindness, like, it has to be part of your identity. It has to be because
I
a lot of
agree.
things revolve around it.
I
So
agree.
Hey, Anya, you
yes,
just mentioned Tim Brook and Jernigan. For our viewers who aren't in the know, can you tell them who Tim Brook and Jernigan were so they
Tim
know?
Brook is the founder of the National Federation of the Blind, and Jernigan is the succeeding president, like next president after
Or the
him.
previous, yeah.
Wait a minute though. I mean, I don't want to rush you past that. Those are absolutely important past presidents. But what do you mean, Anya, when you say? I mean, and this is just my perspective, of course, but it sounds like you're saying something a lot more profound than you might realize. What do you mean? You think it has to be a part of your identity? I'm thinking very carefully and deeply about what you're saying. No, I don't think I agree with it. But what do you mean? I'll hear you out.
Well, everything what you do revolves around your blindness, like your alternative ways of doing things. Like, the reason you're doing them alternatively is because you have to. you know you have to figure out ways. It's just like we were discussing in many other ways. And first thing people see, no matter how we fight it, again, like, no matter how much we want this not to be this way, but first thing people see is your blindness when they see you with a cane or with a dog or something. So, and like, we have different needs, we have different, I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well, but I think, Paul, you agreed with me. Maybe you have
No,
something.
I absolutely agree. And this is where I think, we have all heard on the podcast, Brandon and I don't necessarily agree on this when it comes down to, say, if you have a job interview. Brandon says, do not mention that you're blind until, say, a few interviews in. I say, mention it right away, because everything I'm going to have to do at your job is most likely going to have to be adapted. When you use your phone, has to be adapted. When you use your computer, has to be adapted. When you cook, it has to be adapted. When you bake, has to be adapted. And so while I don't really consider
But
it
we're
necessarily,
all experts at adapting
I understand that, but
things.
it
Yeah.
still has to be
Okay, but
and
I'll just say this, guys. I think a lot of us indeed do have at least slight misconceptions about people who are homosexual. Yeah, I'm going to say it. And you know why homosexuals? It's because there's people that walk around claiming to represent you, but they're flaming homosexuals. Some of you are a lot more reasonable and logical than that. You're a lot more grounded in living a life. But that's not what a lot of us think when we think about gay people. So I don't want people to think about, the blind. Oh yeah, I had an uncle that was blind. We had to cut up all his food, and we had to lead him around where he wanted to go. And
But
because
that's what happens, though.
people think that.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
Brandon, I mean, if you think about it though, you and your wife, right? You and your son, right? You and your kids, right?
Uh-huh.
If you're out somewhere, they technically have to guide you where you need to go. Technically speaking, they do. Now, that's not like that's a burden on them. Those are the people that love you. But they technically still have to do those things.
No,
If
they
you use
don't.
Ira or Be My
No,
I'm
no.
Eyes,
totally
they
capable of navigating the restaurant
Like,
without them. No, they
I
don't.
I also have a husband and children, or I had a husband and children that I hung out with, and no, they didn't guide me. I used my cane and I walked with them.
No, I
But it's
understand that, but
something
you're still using your cane. Should you get lost, you're still asking for directions that other people that can see don't have to do. Yes,
You
you
know
can
how
be
often
very
my husband
independent.
got lost and had to ask directions,
I
and he was
understand.
sighted. You know
I
what I mean?
understand what y'all are saying, but you're still using that cane. People are still seeing, oh, Brandon, there's someone who's blind. Becca, there's someone who's blind. So I I've never thought about it as looking at it from an identity perspective, because I just don't think about it. It's just who I am. I don't look at it like, oh, I'm blind. That's my identity. And I don't think I do that. But I recognize, okay, I'm going to have to live my life, my whole life. Your whole life is lived different as a blind person than it is someone who can see. Everything you do
No,
is different.
no, I
I
don't think
agree
it
with
is.
Paul. I agree with Paul, actually.
No, I
Well,
don't. I use accommodative techniques, yes, but I get
Okay.
invited to parties. I get invited
Yes,
to barbecues.
absolutely, and
I
I do too.
attend
But you just
conferences.
use two words that no sighted person has ever used: accommodative techniques.
Yeah, I do use them, but of course I have to use them. But I don't want to be known as Brandon the blind guy.
But you're not. No one.
That automatically limits so much else of who I am.
Okay, I absolutely agree with you, but you're a blind guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're gonna do this, should we start making signs and cholesterol signs and high blood pressure signs and obesity signs and head case signs for the transsexual? There's no racial bigotry here.
I mean,
no,
look,
there's not. But should we do that though? I'm African American. I'm German American.
Here's the thing: they're already doing that. Maybe you aren't.
I'm
not, but they're already doing. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They go. This is for African Americans. This is for Asians. You have quote unquote black churches. You have Korean churches.
You're arguing that we should go back to segregation
versus white graduation, for goodness sake.
We are not arguing that we should go back to segregation.
Don't. So you guys are both arguing we should go back to segregative society?
I'm not arguing that. We're saying those things exist today.
Yes.
That's
what we're saying. We're not saying they're okay. We're saying...
You guys are saying you didn't graduate with anybody other than your race?
No, we are saying that now.
Wow.
So everybody in my class was
lucky. Wow.
Everybody in my graduating class was the same race as me.
I don't care.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Everybody in my class was the same race as me, but there were 10 people in my graduating class.
That's not the point.
It was a very small town.
That's not the point we are making.
That's not the point we're making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys.
It essentially is, because you're saying we have, and you guys are implicitly okay with, graduations for only the blacks.
No one said he was okay with it. What we're saying is there are churches that are, say, Korean-based churches or black churches. There are churches that are that way and market them as such, and that's what we're saying. And so, to me personally,
and what I'm saying is, I don't want there to be anything like that. Oh, that's a blind school. Oh, that's a blind store.
Do you not?
That's a blind club.
Are there not schools for the? Are there not schools for the blind? When you go to an NFB center, is it not for the blind? That's what it's for.
Right. And I don't agree with that whole model.
Okay, then how would you? Okay, now I'm very curious. How would you phrase that then?
How I would fix it is
how would you phrase it, or what would
you change the school to accommodate sighted along with blind when it's a blind immersion training center? That's what I'm curious about.
That's what now I'm curious.
No, what I'm saying is I've never, since I was a teenager, agreed with the schools for the blind. Now I think blindness training centers, that's a little different, because I think we're hitting people at different points of life, right? And so, but especially where education is concerned, no, I think that there should be a lot more blindness professionals integrated throughout public schools, because it has been clearly established that people who go to exclusively schools for the blind often matriculate noticeably worse than people that are expected to matriculate through public school. And again, that makes blind people look dumb. But blindness has nothing to do with mental ability. It has to do with physical ability.
I don't disagree with you, but to your earlier point, I actually very much agree with you here. But to your earlier point, when say you or Anya or Becca or I say go to a blindness training center, we are still technically going to a center for the blind. It may not be in education, but technically speaking, we are going to a center adapted for our needs.
Oh, yeah. Right. And those I think should continue to exist for right. Like, let's say somebody gets in a car wreck and unfortunately loses their vision over time. Yeah, that's a different stage of life. They are going to need to learn to do things in a different way. So I think those should stay around.
So are you thinking like public elementary and high schools should be more integrated though?
Of course,
Yeah,
wholeheartedly.
I agree with you because I went to public school. Like I only went to the deaf and blind school for a year and a half, and then I spent 4 years in high school, public high school, and it was very difficult because I was the only blind person who'd ever been through the school.
Yeah, I mean, this can turn into a whole different topic, and I think it's worth discussing. But I think we need to have more time for that for schools.
Oh
But
yeah,
I am absolutely against you and Paul. I think though, but I'm not trying to just argue. I'm really trying to understand your guys' point. But I mean, I just worried that if I were to, which I'm not at this point, but if I were to make blindness, if I were to integrate it more throughout my identity, see, guys, that's a big deal. I think you're saying a lot when you say that. That's not. It's not just a turn of phrase. If you're actually going to do that, then you're aligning more closely with other blind people and blindness as a whole than I want to align myself. I think.
I mean, I do understand to an extent what you're saying, but if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't look at blindness as an identity. I don't look at it as a characteristic because I think both those things, it's just a bunch of talk. It's just a bunch of BS. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, I know I'm blind, and I know that I have to have a certain things adapted, and I know I need a certain accommodations because I know that my world is different than someone who can see. But I don't look at it, I think, as an identifier or a characteristic. I mean, it's who I am. I don't care. I really don't care about the language of it, to be truthful. With no disrespect towards y'all talking about this now.
Well, no, but what I'm saying though is, do we want to do that? Because, for example, I like black cooking. I do. Black people are known for cooking a certain way. I mean, do we want to divvy up and figure out what does it mean to be blind? And then if you say that, it means you accept that. That
Yeah, but
is what it means to be blind.
Is it okay for the people who go, yeah, we attend a Mexican, if people say something like, I'm going to make something up here, but like, oh yeah, here we are and we attend a Mexican potluck or a Mexican fiesta, or if women go, okay, we're attending a meeting and it's all women. Okay, well, what's wrong with blind people going, we are attending a meeting and we're all blind? You have to identify as a woman, technically, to be allowed to go to that book club. You have to be identified as, say, a Mexican to attend that fiesta or to be in that fiesta. You have to identify as blind or be blind if you go to that quote unquote blindness specific meeting.
Yeah,
oh,
I
that's a
don't
good
like it.
point.
I don't like it. Oh,
What do
But
you
it's
mean
I
you
do
don't
the
like
way
not
it
it?
like
How
is.
it.
would you
You
like
don't
it? Not,
have
it's the
to like
fact.
It's just it is. And then the
It
reason I bring
is.
it up because I personally like Paul. I don't care either way. But what bothered me a bit, because NFB had always said, "Oh, it's just characteristic." I never agreed to the 100%, because, like I said before, and everything around us has to do with our disability. Like anything we do, the way we live, the way we interact, the way we do everything has to do with our. That's why it was kind of bugging me, like, oh, so now you're playing this identity because everybody is around you doing identity, so NFB decided to do identity.
Yeah.
But on the big surface, like, I mean, I never bought into the whole just characteristic thing. That's
Oh, I did because, guys, yes, okay, I agree with you in that. Yes, I have to use accommodative techniques, of course. But what I'm saying, guys, is I can pour a beer just as good as any bartender. Yeah, I said it. Any bartenders want to take me up? I can pour just as good as you. So get on it, mixologists. Pay attention and learn your craft and learn it well. Because you know what? I'm just blind. It doesn't matter.
I
I
probably
can probably
couldn't
do
if the
just
music
as good a
was
job
playing
as you.
loud.
I
You
recently
would be
bought
a
a bar
great
stool.
blind bartender.
Of course, and the point is, but I don't want to be known as blind. I just want to be known as, man, that Brandon bartender, dude.
A
That guy,
great
that bartender
bartender.
Brandon, he pours them strong, dude.
Okay, but
I
let
mean,
me ask you this. Let
and
me
then
ask
if
you this.
people want to add on to that,
Okay,
and
let me
you
ask
know
you
what?
this.
The crazy thing is that guy's blind. If they want to add that on the back, okay, fine. But
Okay,
that
but
means they
listen.
would be
Yeah,
first
but
as a bartender.
okay, yeah, but listen. You may want to be known as first as the bartender, but guess what? Guess what? When people describe a girl, oh, you're talking about Chelsea, the girl with the big boobs? Oh, you're talking about Johnny, the guy with the bald head. That's how people describe people, and you will be described unless no
Yeah,
one ever
you
sees
talk
you
about
as
Becca the blind chick.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you
It
be.
would.
That's how you described.
I mean, I'm okay if they put blindness on the back kind of as an afterthought. Because again, if they're not going to do that, then I expect all you other people who have anything that varies from the norm to disclose it up front, big, bold font,
Not about.
loudly, proudly. Do you
It's
want
not
to
about
admit
you.
that you've been diagnosed with obesity? Do you want to admit that you've been diagnosed with high cholesterol or high blood pressure or
But it's
Blindness
not.
is not a
anxiety or
diagnosis,
depression
though.
or gender dysphoria? Do
But
you
it's
want
not
to
a.
admit
It's
those
not a.
things?
But it's not a. It's first of all, it's not a. I would say to what Becca said. I don't really know if people look at it as a diagnosis. The fact
Well, of
is
course it is. It's medical. Hello, guys. It's medical diagnosis. You
Right,
have to
right.
have.
But
And if
it's
I'm going to
not
be
something that
expected,
goes away like most diagnoses, you know?
no, I don't
okay.
care. If I'm going to be expected to identify as blind, then I expect everybody else to have the huevos to identify as whatever limits you.
But it's not.
I
It's not.
believe in equality, opportunity, and security for the blind. So if
It.
I'm going to have to identify as blind, then I want every obese person, every person with anxiety, every person with agoraphobia, every person with depression
But it's
to
not
pony
to
up and
me, and I
make it
didn't listen to
known
the
that
end.
I have depression, I have agoraphobia. Make it known, people.
Yeah, well, for the record, a lot of people do want people to know what they have. Not all people, but a lot of people do want people to know, so they are aware of what's going on. But it's
And you
not
know, I'm
about.
getting sick of that too. Are you guys getting sick of that? About
Of
everybody
course I am.
doing that?
I resonate with the people who don't really want it to be known, except among very, very close friends and loved ones. Otherwise, they just manage it. That's how
No,
I view
that's
blindness.
not how
So
society is. Go ahead.
society's not that way because the society, if you say have diabetes, nobody can see that. They can see that you're blind.
Oh, but I want to. If I'm going to be have to identify as blind,
But hey, and if even has the diabetes division, like diabetes action or something, that they have this whole identity group within the blind community.
oh, but that's internal though. If we're going to
Oh,
start
so
identifying as blind
what
people, then
difference?
like Paul said, we should have blind barbecues and blind pool parties. And I
Yeah,
hate
but
it.
there's a lot of people, women's book club. You got to be a woman to be a part of it. Chinese, whatever. Got to
Okay,
be.
okay. I mean, and I guess this is how it'll work out. But I mean, I guess if blind people want to do this, then okay.
Personally,
But
I think
I ain't one of them. I don't
no, I
want to do.
agree. I'm not a part of this for sure. I don't think it's. I don't. I think this is kind of ridiculous. But I mean, when it comes down to characteristics, like if I had to say, do you care? Is your blindness a characteristic of you, or is it your identity? I mean, it has to be. I feel like, in my opinion, it has to be a little bit of both. I really do because, okay, my characteristics are I have black hair.
Okay. Now I can understand that.
Characteristics are I'm blind. That's a part of me. But I also have to identify as blind to a certain extent because everything that I do, like Anya was saying, has to kind of do with that to an extent. I
It
mean,
revolves around it, yeah.
But you guys know what he's saying when he says everything I do, he's referring to using non-visual skills or
Right.
non-visual techniques. And we can get good enough at our non-visual skills and techniques that we're smoother than a sighted person at things,
That's true, but you have to have those non-visual techniques. And the thing is if you talk to someone who's never been around a blind person before and you say something like non-visual techniques, they're gonna go, I don't even know what that means. Or if you use a term that I've heard a lot of NFBers use the hierarchy of sight, they ain't gonna know what that means. That's something you have to explain.
And they shouldn't. And what I'm saying is they shouldn't know what it means.
I know, but you have to explain
we
that.
know what it means internally, like as blind people. But now, if we're going to make this a part of our identity, now we're going to have to go out and do whole campaigns, public relations campaigns.
Isn't that what
this is what it means when you hear people say hierarchy of sight? You need to be aware.
Wait, Brandon. Don't we have Meet the Blind month?
Yeah, October is Meet the Blind month.
Yeah,
Don't
how
we
about
have that?
Yeah.
Doesn't the NFB want to get blindness? Doesn't the ACB want to get blindness out there as a whole? Don't they want to bring awareness to that?
Wait, guys, talk.
Listen,
Okay,
the VA also is a big part of it. When I was living in Phoenix, and I was associated with Savvy in Phoenix for quite a while, and each year when they have a Meet the Blind month, the local VA does a lot of events with Savvy. They do the White Cane March and several blind awareness events throughout the month of October. The VAs, like I said, they're also heavily involved.
Yeah, Brandon, what do you want to say? Or was it Paul? Somebody?
No, Brandon.
Only that, you know. Okay, we should have like. I think, and I've always thought that it's sad that we have to do events like that, because I've always thought that the ultimate goal is so that we can be more integrated into society.
Okay, well, I don't. Well, all I can say is, you want to be integrated in society. In my opinion, go into society, go to church, go to a run club, go to a women's club if you're a girl. Go do things in society and let society
Yes.
see you for who you are. Don't do all those events because I think they draw attention, but negative attention. That's my opinion.
I do both. I feel like I live with one foot in the sighted world and one foot in the blind world, because I do both sorts of events. I go to blind conventions. I go to church. I go to lots of sighted events, but I also go to blind events. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
but Counts, I'm going to say something, and we don't have to get into this much, and many of y'all probably would disagree with me, but you know what? You can go to those blind events all you want. And I think for a lot of people, those are very, very important, because it's an opportunity to be around other people that are blind. But when it comes down to blindness-specific events, you know, when it comes down to, you know, say October month, that is, what is that? Blindness awareness month. Meet the blind month.
Blindness. Yeah, blindness.
Because I remember being a part of stuff about a decade ago, and look, I think that that's great to quote unquote bring awareness. But you know what? The general population doesn't care. Okay, they don't. I'm sorry, they don't, because it doesn't affect them, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I think Blind Month is really important because, like, when I was blind when I was 12, and I lived like the first 8 years without even getting a cane. You know what I mean? And then when I was, I don't remember. I think I was over 40 when I joined the National Federation of the Blind. And it was so amazing meeting all these blind people. It was refreshing. It was exciting. I was suddenly getting all kinds of great information that I'd never gotten about resources and advocacy and stuff, you know? And so I really feel like the conventions and stuff are very important. And that's one reason why I try to stay involved. But I want to join the ACB now. So.
And I think that that's important, like I said, for people who maybe want to be around more blind people. I think conventions and being a part of organizations such as the NFB and ACB are very important for that, because we do live a little different lives than, say, someone who can see to our sighted counterparts. Our lives are different, and it's important to have friends that are blind or visually impaired. It's also, though, equally as important, I feel like, to have friends who ain't, who are quote unquote normal. Now, how normal is anyone really? But you get the idea. Someone who's quote unquote normal, it's important to have those friends and those people in our lives as well, so they can call us out on our crap. And it's important for us to be able to call them out on their crap, you know? So I don't know. I don't know.
See the word you use there makes me sound abnormal. And I'm not. I'm just a guy.
What?
Well, you just called people with no disabilities normal, which means that everybody with any kind of disability is not normal.
Brandon, I have news for you. Everybody out there has some kind of disability, a learning disability or something.
Prefix dis means away from norm. So having disability already makes you a little abnormal, because dis stands for abnormality.
You technically, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is, you know, I don't look at, I mean, my blindness is a disability, if you will, but I mean, it's just a part of who I am. I don't look at it as a problem or anything like that. So
there is a term,
but you guys do know, right? You guys do know that there is a push right now to institutionalize autistic people, right?
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh no, it's not. Not according to Paul and Anya. No, they'd be fine because we'd have our own club.
Well, let's not
Where
forget
all of
that
us are blind. We can all live happily as
I've known
blind.
a few autistic people in my time, and I really feel like they just need a different touch, a different understanding.
well, for one
They
thing,
need their
all
own
of the
club.
business
That's what.
Okay, first of all, I want to point out that Anya and I never said that we needed our own club. First of all, I'd like to point that out. There was never any of us
Yes,
that
you
specifically
do.
said we needed our own club. What we did say is that our lives are the way they are because we are blind. If you have blonde hair, your life isn't affected because you have blonde hair or you have brown hair. That is a characteristic of you. Your life is not, you do not have to live your life a specific way because of your hair color.
Okay, but if we're going to make blindness a part of identities, we do need to define that identity. So yes, we should. A group should sit down and figure out and codify, because now we are going to be more exclusive. We have to.
You hang on a second. Ain't y'all in a club as it is? If you're an NFB member or an ACB member or an AFB member, you're technically a part of a group.
Yeah.
You technically are.
They got
it. I'm a part of that group so that I can learn how to better navigate and work within the world as
and
a
better
advocate.
But why?
I don't want that. I don't want that to filter out into the wider world because I don't think it needs to.
But you do think it needs to because you mentioned things like the hierarchy of sight.
I mean, okay, I believe in equality for the blind. So, yes, it means if all you ever give are printed handouts and you can't ever just email me or send me a PDF or something, I mean, I'm not asking for anything exceptional.
I agree.
Except that I just want the same information, but I do need it in a different format. Sure.
Accessible format, yeah.
All I'm saying is
I don't think that companies should create, blindness divisions and put all of us blind people together in the same division, isolating us from the sighted people. I don't agree with that.
Okay, but if you say work,
but if we make it a part of our identity, homosexuals typically always hang together. Women almost always hang together. I don't want to have to do that as a blind person.
Yeah, but if you go to an NFB convention or if you go to an AACB convention, what is that?
No. That is that. That. I mean, if
that's
we
what that is.
No. If we want to have things, and like I said, if we want to have things for the blind, we can. But it's this whole word identity. I just think, man, that's a dangerous word. I just view it as a dangerous word because to say that.
I just want to say one thing before we head off, because I do realize that time is of essence to some people. I just want to say one thing. I just want to say one thing before we go. To the viewers and to Becca and Anya who are laughing at Brandon and I hope that it's very obvious that Brandon and I know each other very, very well, and we are not afraid to have these discussions. So I hope it's enjoyable to everybody who's watching this.
No, I laugh not at you guys per se, but I was laughing at semantics. Like, this is that. No, that it is. That is that. And like it was just kind of a play on different But yeah, it's an interesting discussion. It's good to have different viewpoints, and yeah, I'm glad that Paul agrees the most with me on this thing. But again, I never felt strongly either way. So I mean, I think it's a little bit of both for us.
I think it is a little bit of both for sure. It's not an identity thing for me personally, but hey, people see it whenever they see me. You cannot avoid it when you see me. I had someone say to me, and it wasn't necessarily something that was mean, but I don't have prosthetics. And when people said, there was two of us, there was me and another guy, and guy had prosthetics. And I said, can you tell this person's blind? And they said, no. I said, but when you look at me, can you? And they said, absolutely. So,
well, I think we should all carefully research what do the words identity politics mean? Because I don't fully know, but if we're going to consider making it a part of our identity, then we need to know what does that mean? Because is it all just bullshit? In other words,
ladies and gentlemen, tune in next time while we continue this exciting discussion.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Please join us again next week, and we will continue this discussion. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.